Hi, welcome back. So I'm really excited that you've started to tap in and really start to extract the value of your team. Now, it's tough to be considered a great leader if the team never wins. No matter the context, whether it's sports, business, or anywhere else, measurable winning is ultimately critical to being a winning leader. I need you to let that sink in. I'm not saying that winning is all that's important. That clearly is not true. But I want you to achieve and make the impact in your world, in the world around you, in your business, in your philanthropy. I want you to make big impact. I want you to win. Of course, there's a lot to be gained from failed and valiant attempts at achievement, which we're going to actually cover in a distinct module. But delivering measurable outcomes that have been agreed upon by the team, that's our focus today. And to add to this, you can certainly define winning however you wish. I say to my team at Ferrazzi Greenlight that the first definition of winning is lives impacted. Truly. That's why I was so excited about 100 million co-elevating leaders as a moonshot. And of course, after that, it's the money that my team makes doing it. I want to make sure that my team is well compensated and rewarded for the hard work in our changing and making an impact on the world. And then, of course, it's the joy that we have in the process. So that's my metric of success. You've got to decide what yours is. Remember, the constituencies that you serve, you need to be asking yourself where they consider winning. So as I mentioned about the Gandhi quote, "There they go, must follow them, for I am their leader," there were those two questions. Who? And then, do I have a pulse on what's important? What do other people define as success? That's so critical to you as a leader. The ones you've enlisted when you did your rap, you need to make sure you know what winning means to them. So you owe them and your team and yourself to do what you said you would do when you enlisted them. You owe it to them to take those 10 hills. Winning comes when you drive outcomes through accountability, which is what we're going to explore today. Accountability and how to make sure that you hold accountable all of the individuals on your various teams. Today, we're going to go over how you can increase individual accountability and then to create a network of peer-to-peer accountability. And again, this is big, and it's a new form of leadership, shifting from the overload of all of the accountability on you to hold others accountable, and shifting that to peer-to-peer accountability where people hold each other accountable in the team. Traditionally, accountability is what the leader holds members of the team to, but with co-elevation, the team also begins to hold each other accountable. That's the new social contract that we introduced, and we're now going to reinforce. For starters, I want you as a leader to take upon yourself a great deal of the responsibility to coach this new form of accountability. And I say for starters, because right now you're introduced something new, something bold, and that is that you as a leader are going to be taking upon yourself the coaching of your team to hold each other accountable. That accountability is no longer just from the top. In Leading Without Authority, I call this chapter, "It's All on You." I want you to always realize the behavior of the team, the recontracting that you have of the team, that it is your job to coach your team to those 8 core characteristics, right? What I mean is that we can't let anything stop us from moving forward and figuring out what it takes to succeed. It's all on us as leaders. But over time, the team will step up and share that burden. That tenacity, that all on you tenacity is the mark of a great leader and the mark of a great coach. And sometimes the biggest obstacles are human, even members of our own team. But it doesn't matter. You still need to lead and get results. I always say it's all on you and it's all about them. We'll talk more about how to open people to you and your leadership and ideas later, but for now, let's keep focused on what we can do. The 3 stages of accountability. So this begins with individual accountability, and that is you. I want you to role model how others behave and are accountable. Warren Bennis called this modeling the way in his book, Transformational Leadership. A friend of mine, the CEO of a company called Legal Shield, Jeff Bell, once said to me, Keith, the hard part is in the doing. Yes, it is. And so we as leaders need to be the doing. We need to be showing people the path. You must be willing to do the hard part yourself and show others what it looks like in order to be accountable. Never ask others to do something you wouldn't do yourself. Remember, how you show up is how others show up. That's called the shadow of a leader. Second, I want you to focus on holding others accountable. This is a more traditional form of accountability. This can sometimes be tough, particularly for new leaders. Being clear and assuring that everyone knows what they are held accountable for. That's the start. Clarity of expectations. It's very difficult to hold someone accountable when you haven't set clear expectations from the beginning. Set clear and measurable expectations. Yesterday, you set SMART goals. Remember, you set SMART goals, and I want you to make sure that for each hill, you are setting SMART goals, and for each individual owner, you are setting SMART goals. It helps if you've co-created those, if you've used the collaborative problem-solving process to co-create these with the team. Why? So that they own them, they own the commitments, that they know what they're held accountable for. They have co-created them, and as a result, they're going to go take those hills, and they will not question when they fail or they achieve what was expected because they created them with you. It's also important that while you set clear goals, that you still empower people. Give them autonomy, right? Give them autonomy to execute and reinforce this with the accountability after the fact. The point is, I want you to let people extend themselves, to own how they do things. I used to not only want certain results as a leader, but I also wanted it to be done in my way. I found that that really takes energy out of people. Sometimes this means along the way you might give a little corrective coaching, particularly though when goals are not met, and even, if necessary, the termination of individuals who repeatedly don't meet goals and who have repeatedly failed to hold themselves accountable. And that's so important as a leader, and it's very difficult. It's, as I said, it's one of the most important but yet difficult things as a new leader is to hold individuals accountable. But then I want to give you a little bit of guidance and give you a little bit of freedom, because there is a third type of accountability. It's a powerful support for the leader and the team, and it's virtually untapped today in traditional leadership. The goal is to create a collective commitment, a re-contract, that social contract, to cross the finish line together. And here I'm going to tell you how. When the team has co-created the goals and the team is a part of the weekly sprints, hearing their peers, right? Hearing their peers' successes, hearing their peers' struggles, and the team can be asked to help hold each other accountable. Because if the community of the team is present for the sprints and present for whether we've achieved or we haven't achieved, this opens up the opportunity for the team to step in and be of service to each other. But that needs to be recontracted, as we discussed earlier, from what is the standard authority, sort of top-down accountability, where everyone's waiting just for you as a leader to say things, for you as a leader to make the corrective action, for you as a leader to see if things are on track. One of the ways I begin to open up a team to the possibility of coaching each other is a simple set of questions like this. I would say to a team, who thinks that they can and should get at least 20 to 30% better than they are today in order to be the kind of leaders we all need to be in this organization? Who thinks we can get 20 to 30% better? Well, frankly, I would say most people would raise their hands. Or you can even put this out as a question. Do we think we could get 20 to 30% better by working hard and becoming seekers? Get to the point where everybody has raised their hands. Then I follow with, okay, keep your hands up. Who believes that it's their responsibility to help their teammates get there? Wow, hands usually come down. Why? Because it's not the traditional mindset. The traditional mindset is that peers don't coach peers. Peers do not hold each other accountable. But in this new world, we need to shift the burden just from the leader onto the team. This is the mindset that we need. Collective commitment to crossing the finish line together and giving a damn enough about each other to not let each other fail, to coach each other, to challenge each other, to give each other ideas for bold innovations. And why are we doing it? We're not doing it because we're cutting each other's legs out. We're not doing it because we don't care for each other. We do it because we do care. We care desperately. I will introduce multiple practices in coming modules that you can use to really drive peer-to-peer accountability forward. Today's mission is that we talked about the fact that it's all on you and it's all about them. We went over 3 levels of accountability. We introduced, of course, self-accountability. I want it to start with you. And then holding others accountable, the traditional accountability. And then we began to tease out peer-to-peer accountability, this new form of accountability that we early on started to recontract, but now I really want to double down on. And as I said, we must all start with ourselves, and then we can introduce peer-to-peer, because that's bold and that's new. So remember we said that I want you to be a role model? Well, here's your chance to be a role model in this mission. I want you to pick some project that you're aiming for that is a stretch. This could be one of the 10 hills that you're responsible for, right? That might be a bit of a stretch. Ask your team out loud if they wouldn't mind holding you accountable to achieving this next sprint, right? And remember, whatever it is that you've chosen for yourself, something that you want to achieve, ask them to hold you accountable to achieving that, right? And remember at the end of that sprint, whatever it was, if you say you want them to hold you accountable in a week or in a month, I want you to put it on your calendar and specifically ask them to remind you of their commitment to you. I want you to coach them to hold you accountable. Now, when you do that, the next thing you do, you might also ask if anyone else on your team is willing to ask for the team to hold them accountable as well, right? Ask if anybody else would be willing to do the same and have the team hold them accountable for this next sprint. What we're doing is we're fundamentally rebooting the mindset. The mindset used to be that your boss held you accountable, and that's it. Now you're the boss and you're asking the team to hold you accountable. And then here you are as the boss and you're asking for the team to leverage each other and hold each other accountable. This is a really important reboot, and it's fundamentally redefining the act of accountability in a way that shifts from you being the sole burden as a leader of accountability into the fabric of the team. We're going to land this with much more process later, but this is a bold and important first step. Enjoy your mission.